welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. Today we're going to make a batch of hamburger dills. This is a super simple and fast recipe, unlike my last one. This one, if you guys just want to process those pickles quickly and you want a nice, good, crisp dill pickle, definitely recommend this recipe. You're going to need about 4 pounds of cucumbers, and I've got that here. This is 4 pounds 5 ounces. You will need some canning jars. This recipe should do approximately 7 pints. I have that here with the matching lids that go with it. I have some pickle crisp. It's optional, but I think that it does help keep the pickles crisp. You will need some canning salt. Make sure that you use canning and pickling salt because iodized salt will make your cooking liquid cloudy. You will need vinegar. Make sure it says 5% acidity on the front. And peppercorns. And mustard seed. Doesn't matter if you use the brown ones or the golden ones. And then you need some dill flour, preferably fresh if you can, but I have dried and that works fine as well. These dill flowers are from my garden and I thought I was done using dill, so I dried the rest of mine. And it turns out I wanted to make a batch of these too, so I'm going to use dried. You will also need a water bath canner, that's what this is, and the rack that goes inside. If you're just using a big large stock pot, it is important that you have some kind of rack. It doesn't have to be this kind of rack, but you do want something on the bottom. Other than a little bit of water, that's all the ingredients we're going to need for this recipe. I'm going to get these washed and we'll come back to cut them together. The cucumbers are all clean and now it's time to cut them. I like this little tool here because it makes wavy lines and I love the texture. Both ends need to be removed from the cucumber. If your tool is dull and well loved like mine, you might need a knife to cut some of these. And this is about the thickness that I like for mine. That's pretty much all there is to this next step here. Once these are all done, I will meet you over at the stove. It's time to make the cooking liquid, and we need 4.5 cups of water. And 4 cups of vinegar. And 6 tablespoons of pickling salt. Ooh, I'm leaking out the bottom of my container here. Alright, I better shore up my box here and then we'll be right back. Now that I've cleaned up my mess, we're going to give this a good stir and turn it up to a medium heat. And we're going to bring this to a boil and simmer it for 10 minutes. Once we get that part taken care of, we will start to fill the jars, which is the most fun part. Our cooking liquid has been boiling, or simmering rather, for 10 minutes, and we're going to carefully move it off of this burner over here. And we're also going to turn the heat off, because we are going to bring our canner over to this burner here, and it does already have some water in it, although I don't know if there's enough yet. Okay. Set our canner here. It does have some water in it, most likely not enough, but we will determine that after the jars are in the canner. Here we have our station. We're going to put a ladle in there. Then we have our cucumber chips here. We've got clean sanitized jars. We have our peppercorns, mustard seed, pickle, crisp, all ready to go. We also have the dill over there, and it's dried, so it'll be a little finicky to get it into the jars, but that's totally okay. We also have a bubble popper up here, right here, where you can't see it. And we've got clean, sanitized lids and rings over there, and it's not necessary to boil these lids. We have a funnel there and also a wet paper towel for the rims. That's everything we need for success. Let's go ahead and start filling our jars. First thing we'll add is 1/8 of a teaspoon of pickle crisp to the bottom of the jar, and 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed, and a few peppercorns. Like, let's see, there's 3, 6, 9, so like 10 or 11 peppercorns. If you like yours less peppery, just put in 2. Then we'll grab a pinch of dill and put that right into the bottom of the jar. If you're using fresh dill, then use 2 heads of dill. Now we'll put our cucumbers in the jar. I want to try to pack them in, so I took a couple out so I can resize my situation a little bit here. Okay, that looks pretty good. I like to keep the food at the 1-inch line. Then we'll grab our funnel and we will ladle in the cooking liquid, leaving a 1/2 inch headspace, and I'll show you what that looks like. Ooh, that's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Let me get a mitt. Okay, see that the liquid is right there on that middle line where the ring goes, right here. That is the 1/2 inch mark. And we'll take our bubble popper and go around the outside edge and press toward the center. That will release those bubbles. And you'll take your wet paper towel and clean the rim. And I like to use this magnetic end on the end of my bubble popper to grab my lid. Pop that right on top. And grab your ring and just finger tight. Then we will remove the lid to the canner and place the jar right inside. I'm going to get the rest of the jars full, and then I'll show you the next step. Our 7 jars are full, and I am happy to report that the cooking liquid that we made is the perfect amount for these jars. There was nothing left over, and I didn't have to make another batch. I don't know about you, but when I get a recipe from somebody and the cooking liquid is like half of what's necessary, it drives me crazy. So I just wanted to tell you guys that the cooking liquid in this recipe is perfect. All my jars are ready to go. The canner is warm because of course the brine was warm and the jars are warm. I'm going to turn the canner up to just a medium low to get it started. And we're going to carefully set the jars into the canner. And we do need, oh, it's hot, 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 hot. I'll stick my fingers in there. We need an inch of water over the tops of the jars in order for it to process safely. So I'm gonna add some hot water, and I'm gonna do it directly from the sink, but I'm gonna run it nice and hot. All right, and that's perfect. About 1.5 inches of water. So anywhere between 1 inch to 2 inches is perfect. And now we're just going to put the lid back on and wait until it comes to a full rolling boil. And when it does, I'll be back. We are at a full rolling boil. That's what that looks like. Put this lid back on, and we're gonna set our timer for 15 minutes. The timer has gone off, so we're gonna turn the heat off and very carefully move the pot right on over. If you have a glass top like me, don't scrape it along. Pick it up a little bit if you can. Then we're going to remove the lid and set another timer for 5 minutes. The 5-minute timer has gone off, and so now we're going to take these jars out of the canner and place them on a towel. It is over 90 degrees here today, but even so, I'm going to use a towel because tile countertops can still be cold and we don't want these jars to break. Technically, you can pull these little things up and pull the whole rack out at the same time, but I never do that. So I'm just going to take them out one at a time. Try not to tip them as you bring them up. The water on top will evaporate very quickly on its own. Now we're going to let these jars sit overnight, and then we'll move on to the very last step. Our jars have cooled off, and now it's time for the finishing touches. First, we want to remove the rings. Now we want to make sure that they all sealed. The tap test is great. They're all making that kind of ping sound, which is perfect. If it was a hollow thud, it would indicate that your jar is not sealed. Then, just as an extra measure of safety, I like to gently pick each one up by the lid, make sure it doesn't slide off. These jars are all sealed. You'll notice that I have 10 jars here instead of 7. So the amount of cucumbers that I had, even though it was 4 pounds, it was just over 4 pounds, and the recipe does call for 4 pounds. This made 10 jars instead of 7. The recipe does call for 7 pints. I would say if you're gonna make this recipe and you only want 7, use just under 4 pounds of cucumbers. Because the cooking liquid was the perfect amount for 7 pints, I had to make a little bit extra to do my other 3 jars. Then you're going to want to take a wet towel and clean around the underside of the lid and around where the ring was. And you'll want to do that for all of your jars. Once your jars are clean and dry, you're going to want to put a label on them. I use dissolvable labels. It's really nice to use these because once you're done with your jar, they come right off, as opposed to some other labels like a label maker, like those things, those never come off. I use them up on these and I have washed them dozens and dozens of times and they don't come off. They don't come off to save your life. You gotta get a chemical for those. So dissolvable labels are amazing for that purpose. And you'll wanna put what's in the jar and the date that you made them. Pickles are good for about 2 years and then they start to get mushy after that. And they're still gonna be good. As long as your seal is fine, they're gonna be good for years and years. But as far as the quality of the food inside the jar, for pickles, 2 years is about how long they go before they start to get mushy. Other canned foods like tomato sauce can last years and years and years and years without any degradation of the food inside. And that is it, you guys. That's how to make hamburger dills. This is the easiest, fastest, most simple recipe, and they taste divine. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!